Hi guys, I'm Danny, and I started a Sunday gym because I've noticed lately that people tend to go to colleges and universities without actually knowing why they're there. And afterwards, starting jobs that are unfulfilling. So I'm interviewing different professionals to see what they have to say and share their knowledge and experience with you. I hope you enjoy it. Right on, Lois. Thank you for joining. How are you doing?
I'm very well today and happy to see you.
It's an absolute joy to see you, not to mention you have so much to share with us. The program is going to be focused on three main aspects. What do you do for a living? How did you get there? And how did you know that this was the way to go? So tell us what you do for a living.
That's right. How do you know it's the right way? Well, you try it and see if it works.
Well, one question at a time.
Okay. Um, do you want the rundown now?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, please go on.
Okay. Okay. I'm Lois Hollis here from the United States. And our world is just as crazy as your world in another country. It just is.
It
I-
is. It is.
It is. Crazy because I'm 79, so I've seen a lot. And from my perspective, I don't even know where I'm living because things were so different uh 60, 70 years ago. I mean, I used to get on a bus for 18 cents and now it's a couple dollars. And it's just, people don't know what gender they are and everything's crazy and people are living on the streets. And anyway, but I am more interested in how we treat ourselves and how we treat other people. And that's where I went to in my life. I'm a nurse and I've always been a nurse. I helped start one of the first kidney hemodialysis units in the country. And so I'm looked at as a trailblazer, somebody that starts things before the other people do, because there's a need for it. So that's who I am. And somewhere around my middle age, around 50 or so, I became very ill. And I couldn't find anybody to help me because they said, you'll be dead in a year or two because I had so many
Whoa.
injuries. Yeah, I
Like
had
that
brain.
straight up? Like literally like that?
Yeah, three
Good God.
doctors. Well, I'm a nurse and they were correct because I had heart problems, liver problems, kidney problems, and I was very crippled with scoliosis because I was in a very abused child in my childhood. So I had, but doctor.
Can you like repeat the last sentence after the
It was a
chapter
little, yeah,
because I lost the signal here. Sorry about that.
but optimistic me never thought I would die because I had other things to do. I just, the doctors were right, but I just didn't find the right doctor to say, we're going to help you. So I kept looking. So
I
if
often get sick and ill, probably not sick. Sick's not the right word. Colleague of mine once asked me, "Aren't you afraid that you might die?" And I said, "No, because I have loans to pay, and I'm here for the next 30 years. They will never let me go." I used to talk because the bank manager of the bank that I got my loan for the accommodation and everything, and I told him out of pure curiosity, what will happen if I die before I pay the loan back? And he told me that he will cremate me and I will work as a sand clock on his desk until the debt is settled. So I'm not going anywhere. This was the best defense possible.
it doesn't matter what your motivation is.
Yeah.
Well, I like that. That's very good. And you're very creative. Creative
Thank you.
people are really needed today. So I found the right doctor because I'm 79 and I'm still talking.
And you're doing pretty well. I can see that.
Yeah. So in fact, I got younger because I was really and had gray hair. Anyway, so that's the short story. So you want to know how did I do that?
Yeah, were you like walking on the street one day and you decided to become a nurse? Because you said that you've always been a nurse. Now,
I've always
first of
been a
all,
nurse.
and this is, of course, my view and my perspective. People don't really get in that line of work, either being nurses, doctors, and others like that, they don't really get to do it unless they really want to. This isn't something you can do purely for the paycheck. For example, I'm auditing the transport costs in the company that I work at. We have people that don't like the job pretty much, but the payment is good, like really good. So, you know, they can
They
tolerate.
do. Yeah.
I don't think that's exactly the case with nurses and doctors and a few other professions, of course, because you can't just do it simply for the money. It's not that kind of a profession.
Oh, that's pretty awesome, Danny. I hope people hear that because there's more to life than money.
There is.
There is. You can't tell the loan officer that, but it is true. Anyway, so
They're
I,
saying it behind closed doors because
yeah,
normally we get together.
I always wanted to be healthy. I've always wanted, and if I wanted to be healthy, I've always wanted everybody else to be healthy. I mean, it just was a foregone conclusion. And why? I don't know. But, you know, I always wanted to be healthy and I wanted other people to be healthy because it was like, it's no fun if you're not healthy.
Yeah, no argument there.
Yeah. So, I don't think at 5 and 6 years old I had that intense discussion with myself, but looking back on my life, I've always wanted to be healthy. And it's kind of interesting because I was so unhealthy because of the childhood abuse. I had broken skull, broken jaws, broken ribs. And I guess maybe that's why I wanted to be healthy because I was unhealthy. I don't know. But that's the long and the short of it.
In all fairness, you wouldn't have been doing it for so long if you weren't that good at it. So in a matter, the trauma you received actually shaped your life in a matter that you were able to help a lot. I'm sure a lot of people, because we're not talking about 2 or 3 weeks. You've been doing this for quite a while.
Quite a long
So
time. Yes. Now, so what
pretty much
happened in my 50s that all these calamities that happened to me were like, okay, your body can't hold this any longer. You got to do something about it. And so eventually I found some a doctor that could help with the bones and things of that sort. And then I had to do emotional healing. And we all know about that because if you have severe traumas in your life, you can't just put them in the dirt and cover them up and they're still talking. Or, and that's the whole point of my life. The traumas are still talking, even though you say be quiet or you do this program or that program or that. It doesn't matter. Everyone has had some trauma in their life. It's just the way it is. Even
it
if
is.
the weather can be a trauma. So it doesn't matter. So eventually I went to therapy, you know, the talk therapy because I was suicidal. And I thought that's not right, but I don't feel like living either, but I don't want to die. So anyway, that was the discussion of I had. And so eventually I was like, okay, I'll live, but I'm not happy. And I'm always a happy person. And so I start talking to myself, Denny, instead of talking to the therapist. Like I would feel really depressed and unhappy. So I'd say, hi, depression, how are you? And guess what? Depression start talking back to me. And this is really not unusual because nowadays they have the inner child work. I'm sure you've heard of that, Denny. Where
I
people,
haven't. No, I haven't. I was about to ask.
okay, well, there's a whole movement now to do what I have done. You know, like we all have different parts inside of us. You know, one's happy, one's sad. And sometimes we're really miserable. And so instead of being depressed about it or anxious about it, I talk to you and we make friends and then you heal. It's so logical and it's a lot cheaper than therapy.
Not only that, to be honest, in all fairness, we are in a matter designed to be around other people, to interact with other people. And you can see that this has been in decline ever since the Industrial Revolution happened in the 18th century. I don't know if you're familiar with it. For example, the mailman in London destroyed all of the street phones when they were installed because they were afraid they'd be out of job. And obviously, there are still mailmen in London, I can assure you. But we have those fears, and we always do, and we're always going to. And it's always good. First of all, I don't really like therapy. I've never been on one. I don't. We are social. It's like that.
We are social beings. So
Yeah.
I learned how to talk with myself.
Aristotle once said that he often talks to himself because he really wants to have a discussion with someone actually intelligent.
And that's true. And I even made a film.
Really?
I produced a film at a Discord into Harmony where I show people how to talk to themselves.
I'm going to put it in the link in the description below if you don't.
It's only 20 minutes, but
no, it's perfect.
Children love it. Now, you can go back to your childhood and also see other children. They have a teddy bear, or a girl has their little doll, and they talk to each other.
Yeah.
This is what we do. This is normal.
Yep.
But we got so industrialized. We got to go to a professional to talk to ourselves. No. You can talk. You can talk to yourself, Danny. You really can, because they're talking to you in the voice of anger. They're talking to you in the voice of depression. They're talking to you in the voice of happiness.
Not to mention, and this is my personal opinion, I don't want to offend anyone, right? But this is my view. Now, therapy is not exactly cheap. Like here in Europe, it's not cheap. I don't know about the US, but I'm pretty sure it's not cheap.
It's very, very expensive.
So and again, if you're paying me for something, do you honestly believe I will be happy if you got cured immediately and then I no longer have you as a patient? I probably would not be that happy. And I assume that it's a business, and like any other business, it's been run that way. So this is why, again, I'm not insulting anyone, but those are my views.
Yeah, and people, it's okay if that's what you want to do, but I'm really here for the Denny's in the world. I'm here for the people that want to just make their life better. And I teach you how to do this. You're not, I don't take you as a patient or client every week for 5 years. I teach you how to do this, and you're like up and running.
Yeah, and it's done.
And you have a problem, you give me a call, and I say, go to, okay. That's who I am. I'm here for you to learn how to help yourself. So I teach you how to teach yourself.
And it's pretty fascinating. And about you kind of answered it in the beginning, but we can just cover up a little bit more. How did you knew that this was the way to go? And you did cover a lot, but there's also another aspect. I'm pretty sure, because it's happening here in Europe, so I'm almost certain that it's happening in the States as well. People tend to go to colleges and universities, and again, because I got crucified a few times about this, I'm not against colleges and I'm not against universities. I graduated a master's degree in Denmark. I'm doing a PhD right now, so clearly I don't have an issue with those institutions. I'm highlighting the fact that they go to those colleges and institutions because of that stigma that you have to have the diploma to fix your life, which I personally find it ridiculous and absurd. And it's not that the parents are giving ill advices or something. It was just the way they were brought and they were raised. But things are different now. And there's so many alternative ways you can learn about stuff like that. So, and most of them go to those colleges. They don't like what they're studying. Afterwards, they start jobs that are unfulfilling for them, clearly not for them. And that's not an insult by any means.
I agree
just
with
miserable people. And you cannot be fine if you're miserable 10 hours a day. That doesn't work like that.
Now, I tell people that, you can go this way and you can go this way, and you can have a way of joining everything too. But the main thing is, Danny, we have to talk to ourselves to heal ourselves. We heal ourselves. We do that. And So what I learned was that when I talked with the depression part of myself, the anger part, you all heard about the inner critic.
I'm
You know,
not certain.
someone says, "Oh, you can't do that because you're dumb and stupid." Your mind tells you that.
Oh yeah. Well, mine has never done that, but I heard of other people about that. Yeah.
People say,
I,
"Yeah,
I
well,
literally don't have a filter. I'm polite in general because I was raised right by my mother and my father. So I always treat people the way I want to
well,
be treated.
that's fine.
And if somebody doesn't like me, I just move away. I don't.
Yeah, deal with it."
Yeah.
Well, it's
But yeah, I've heard about that.
it's part of you. And so I say to people, if you feel like you can't do it, like part of you saying you can't do that, just say, "Who's talking?" Isn't that logical? Who's talking? Doesn't cost any money to ask the question, and you'll get a response. So that's what I'm about. I help people to talk with themselves to find out who they are, and they heal because they're making a communication between themselves and themselves, not themselves and a therapist or another person.
Right
You're
on.
making a relationship with yourself. And I teach people how to do that. And it's easy. It's not a course thing because everybody's so different. Now, that's how I found out about shame guilt, is that shame guilt hides inside ourselves. And we don't talk to shame guilt. We talk to the parts inside of us that carry the shame guilt. Okay. And
Not to
so
mention when you talk with yourself in that manner, you get to know yourself. Believe it or not, a lot of people don't know themselves.
I know,
And
because
that's
they go to other people to find out who they are.
yeah,
You can only find out oh, that's a great title. You can only find out who you are from yourself.
pretty good.
That's pretty good, Danny. I like that.
Yeah, it has a ring to it. How exactly familiar are you with European history? Recent the last 600-700 years.
I don't understand your question.
I
My
wanted to
history.
give you an example to something that you mentioned about this gender nonsense that's going around.
Oh,
And I would
oh,
like to give a fine example to show you that how everything will be all right in the end.
okay. Please do tell me how everything will be okay.
Let me. After the Crusades ended, the papacy in Rome implemented that mentality that the male figure structure and behavior is wrong. It's not proper. It's rough. It's barbaric. And if you look at during the Renaissance period, everybody had long hair. At the end of the Renaissance, you couldn't be able to tell who's the queen and who's the king because they looked identical. That came from there, from the papacy, and it was during the whole Renaissance. Everybody, even to join the army, you have to have a ring, a necklace, a long hair, and stuff like that. Out of nowhere comes this short guy, second brigadier lieutenant called Napoleon Bonaparte, born in Corsica.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Now, it was very quiet. He didn't have a lot of friends. He was very admired because he was an absolute genius. He was 10 steps ahead of everybody. He was very quiet. He didn't have a lot of friends. He wasn't really a social one. Once he got in power, the first thing he did was to cut his hair. He implemented the masculine spirit again. He placed all of those regularities to be with short hair. Later on, you can see pictures about every man in the Western Hemisphere had a mustache. It came from there. Now, the Pope exclamated Napoleon. Do you know what happened after that?
No, I don't, but tell me.
Napoleon sent one of his generals, and they arrested the Pope for crimes against God, because to insult the image of the man is to insult the image of God. And later on, he arrested a couple of more popes just to be certain. So why am I telling you this? And this, I just gave you this example because I had an interview with a girl from France recently, so she's still on my mind. But I can tell you the exact same story for Greece, for Rome, for everyone, because this is a cycle. Humanity goes through that cycle.
Oh, they're going through a cycle right now.
Yes, and it's about 60 years. 60 years, not a long time. So it's all gonna be fine. There's always this one. And it's always this one quiet guy. So keep an eye out for a quiet guy. So yes, it's strange, it's bizarre, it's abnormal, it's wrong, but there is always this guy that always, for example, you can just walk out and go to the store, right? But you put your left shoe on your left foot and your right shoe on your, if you switch them, you can still go to the store and you will get what you have to, but that's not the normal way of doing things. So you can try the abnormal and you can learn the hard way, or you can just follow the already placed path. A
But
college
follow
professor,
yourself. Follow yourself by following yourself.
yes, a college professor of mine once said that you remember when you were younger, you believed that your mother was the most beautiful woman alive and your father was the strongest man alive. Right? And when you became a teenager, you kind of got to be
Don't
nasty.
like it. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And once you've gotten older, you realize that they did what they had and that they did the best they could. Right. So this is like humanity in general. Like when folks were ancient, they had faith in God. Well, not that ancient, because that wasn't so long ago, but they had faith in God. And now we're in this teenage period where we're nasty. And it's just a cycle. Normally, when a teenager acts out like that, somebody smacks him over the head and things get fine after that. So everything's gonna be fine. It's a cycle and it's about to end. Don't worry about it.
Right. So what you're saying is that's that, but we need to be who we are.
Absolutely. And we need to know who we are.
And how do we find that out? By talking to ourselves and finding out who we are, because our little parts inside of us talk to us. And we make a communication between them and us. And that's how I healed, because I felt one of the parts inside of me had broken bones. One of the other ones had a spirit of not talking right, stuttered, and another part that was just depressed. So I helped each one of them heal. And then I healed.
Because you became whole. You've
Exactly.
been divided.
So the whole is not having your hair great and your shoes right and the right money in the bank. Whole is the parts inside of you and you are together.
Absolutely. And it goes body and soul. So I couldn't agree more. You're 100% right. And if you can just give a couple, because mostly folks that are in that same position are watching the program, can you give like one advice for them, general advice, of course, because you said it pretty good that every case is individual. You don't have two individuals with exactly the same things going on. So can you give a general advice?
So I would say whenever you feel an emotion, happy, sad, miserable, it doesn't matter. Just say who's talking and find out who you are. It can only be better, because the stronger you are inside of yourself, the stronger you're outside. And isn't that what confidence is all about? And living your dream and being successful and being happy and sharing your life. But you have to share your life with yourself first.
Absolutely.
And it's not, this is not selfish. It's selfish not to do it, because then you're a miserable person and nobody wants to be with a miserable. So
not to mention when you're miserable, and this is again, I'm talking to people from all over the world, so I've seen this with my eyes. When you're miserable, folks around you are miserable as well. And by folks around you, I don't mean your colleagues and your friends, because they can easily ditch you. I'm talking about family and relative stuff, and you're just making life living hell for everybody.
right. So, and you're not happy either. You say,
Yep.
but you're not happy. So my suggestion is talk to yourself, and you say who's talking, and also watch my film Out of Discord into Harmony, because I show you how yourself wants to talk to yourself.
It's in social media, right?
Yes.
Okay,
It's
so I'm just
or
gonna
you
put
just go on YouTube and say Out of Discord into Harmony. But I have my own channel, but I have many places because we go many places. So you can
yeah,
just
I'm going to add everything in the description so that the
so,
folks can see
so
it.
I'm showing you how I spoke with myself and how I healed. And it was like so quick. And it was cheap. It was it wasn't, I didn't pay $5,000. right?
5,000 is a lot. That's a lot of money.
Well,
And
some people do pay a lot of money and they go to a lot of courses and things of that sort. This is not a course. It's just you talking to you because you're human.
yep,
That's all there is. There ain't no more.
right on. Louis, really, you're a remarkable and very splendid woman, and I'm so happy to have you here and to hear your story because it's pretty awesome. Thank you for being here, and I'm going to put everything in the description, so don't worry about it.
Okay. And we may meet again, Denny.
Absolutely, it was a remarkable talk. I loved it.
It was great. So adios and adios to the parts of Denny. And
Right on.
Denny Incorporated.
That's a good one.
Okay, bye, Denny Incorporated.
Guys, I hope this one was useful. Please follow the channel on YouTube, Rumble, Twitter, Gap, LinkedIn, and Facebook. Ring the bell and all the good stuff. Have a nice week ahead, and I'll see you next Sunday.